Yes, welcome to today's revision class. My name is Sadawin, and today we are going to look at the human resource accounting metrics and analytics. This is the June paper for 2024. Now, first I will, we have two sections in this paper. Section 1 is a case study. There's a case that we have been given. I will read through the case, and then we shall look at how do we answer the questions that are in line with that with this case. So the case is about a company by the name Brightness Company Limited. It reads out: Brightness Company Limited is a manufacturer of plastic and allied products. Based in Mombasa, it was established in 1980 as a family business by Mr. and Mrs. Wellington. This pioneering company carved its niche in the state-of-the-art products manufacturing, becoming synonymous with excellence across East Africa and East African region. Over the years, Brightness Company Limited developed 4 distinctive brands that have not only captured the market's imagination, but also mirrored the dynamics of the business landscape. King Kos Seat, Najiamini Seat, and Kids Seat stand the emblematic pillars of Brightness Company Limited, each brand representing a different phase of the business's journey. BCL, that is the initials for the Brightness Company Limited, BCL's product portfolio has assumed the BCG growth share matrix of star, pets, cows, and question marks. This metaphoric designation have informed the strategic direction of the company. It has ensured steady growth and resilience in the market. Amidst the dynamic interplay, BCL's financial power prowess has come to the fore with an impressive average net profit increase of 5% over the past 5 years. In Nairobi Security Exchange, BCL's 1 million shares are currently trading at an impressive average of 500 shillings per share. Beyond the numerical facts, BCL's impact stretches further as it resonates with the lives of 950 employees who have identified it as their professional home. Characterized by its unique social fabric, the company has engaged a blend of permanent and contracted employees at a ratio of 40:60, respectively. In the year 2020, the company conducted a remuneration survey. What emerged from the endeavor was a prism through which gender dynamics within the workforce were revealed as below. Top management were predominantly occupied by male employees, commanding a 17% higher compensation rate than the female. At the middle level management, female employees generated a staggering 19% more than their male counterpart in the job. In the junior ranks, male staff eclipsed female by a significant margin of 25%. Some of the general pointers to the salary differentials were highlighted as performance brilliance, tenure in the role, and general salary increment. Acknowledging the need for holistic transformation and growth, BCL secured equity investment funding that infused vigor and momentum into the veins, with 25% of the business ownership held by the external partners. 2021 became a pivotal year. The resources gathered were strategically channeled into two realms that underpin BCL ethos of expansion and empowerment. The blaring spotlight cast on the gender parity illuminated need for the new pathway to corporate balance, defined by transparency and fairness in remuneration. Expanding horizons materialized into reality as BCL inaugurated a new production facility in November 2021. This multiplied its daily production capacity to an impressive 5,000 tons per day. This arose from the acquisition of Flourishing Limited, a seasoned player in the resin manufacturing landscape in 2022. The acquisition of extra resources and expertise mirrored BCL's commitment to excellence, resilience, and adaptability, positioning the company as an even more formidable force within the industry. The grand tapestry of transformation and evolution had been woven through a collaboration and a strategic execution. A lead team composed of 7 seasoned stalwarts orchestrated the delivery of business expansion projects and staff development initiatives. In the spirit of agility, they adopted an agile approach that infused dynamism and adaptability into every phase of their endeavors. This ethos rippled through BCL's veins, infusing every department, including the human resource team, with renewed vigor. The human resource department, a linchpin in this transformation journey, rose to the occasion with unparalleled dedication. In collaboration with the lead team, the department was at the helm of influencing strategic decisions. This entailed setting project performance objectives in unison with the heads of department. 200 employees from Flourish Limited were transitioned into the fold through a competitive selection. This bolstered the company's ranks to execute projects and oversee the new plant's operations. The seamless transition of Flourish Limited's employees underscored the commitment to unit, ensuring a seamless integration that preserved the essence of both entities. Following the acquisition of Flourish Limited, BCL's Human Resource Department was overwhelmed due to the evolution dynamics of the company. Despite initial enthusiasm and hopes for synergy, a recalibration was needed to align operations with efficiency and sustainability. Integration resulted to redundancies due to the overlapping roles between the existing teams. To optimize resources and ensure growth, the Human Resource Department collaborated closely with senior management. Analysis emphasized the necessity of relocating human capital to ensure the organization's long-term health. Regrettably, the company initiated a restructuring process resulting in the difficult but essential decision to separate 50% of the 200 employees of Flourish Limited. The process enshrined transparency, open communication, and fairness. The Human Resource Department, where practicable, provided outplacement services to the affected employees. The Human Resource Manager highly recommended a mechanism of human resource programs reporting, considering its inherent benefits to the organization. It also emphasized strategic foresight adaptability, the nurturing a corporate culture that propagated valuing human capital beyond numbers to impact lives. It was observed that the journey to success is illuminated by ideas reinforced by extraordinary employees. Right, that is the case. Now, in terms of the questions, we have our first question. Part A asks the question, evaluate the implication of the human resource workforce ratio on BCL's workforce and the overall business strategy. Now, when we talk about the human resource workforce ratio, clearly from the case study we have been told that BCL maintains a 40 to 60 ratio of permanent to contracted employees, which means that 40% of the employees were permanent, while 60% of the employees were contracted. This structure has far-reaching implications on both the workforce management and even the strategic business decisions that are made, also in terms of the operations and far all the way up to the impacting in terms of the success of the institution. So the implications can be examined under two categories: the impact on the workforce and the overall business strategy. First, in relation to the impact on the workforce, first we have the aspect of flexibility and cost efficiency. Now, when we are talking about flexibility and cost efficiency, having a higher proportion of the employees being under contracted, that is 60%, will allow BCL to be agile and to be cost effective. In this way, it's going to be cost effective in its operations, daily operations. Contract workers can be brought in or they can be let go depending on the production needs and the market needs within that industry, so that it's the flexibility reduces the financial burden in a way that when the demand is high, you can bring in contracted employees, but when the demand is low based on different factors, you can let go some of the employees without getting to incur any financial burden. So it is particularly useful during the expansion phases, such as the commissioning of the new production facility, allowing the company to scale quickly without long-term obligations. And specifically from the HR perspective, having a majority of the employees on a contract basis provides a labor flexibility. In other words, the HR department can rapidly adjust workforce numbers based on the production needs without the long processes involved in permanent employment contracts and such like. So basically, like for example, if we can give an example, during a peak production, there will be high demand for plastic products. So BCL can quickly contract the workers, and which makes it easier for you to get these workers. While during slow periods, you will find that the demand is not that high. BCL at that point, it can be able to reduce the workers. So with that, it's able to manage its cost effectively. Number two, challenges in employee engagement and organizational culture. You're going to find that the HR practitioners recognize that engagement is lower among non-permanent staff, as they do not feel a strong connection to the organization. So it means that contract or workers who are under contract are not going to participate fully in decision making or in engaging in engagement in organizations. So you will find that when you have good employees, good skilled employees, well-talented employees within the organization, but they are under contract, these employees might not always feel part, or they might not always feel the need to fully participate in the engagement and come up with new ideas, technology and stuff like that, because they feel like they're not really part of that organization 100% fully compared to the permanent employees. So you will now going to develop a situation whereby you are going to have challenges when it comes to the engagement between the employees. So like for example, when BCL launches an employee innovation program, permanent staff may feel proud to actively participate in new ideas in terms of how to go about it and all that. But when you come to the other side of contract workers who are under contract, they may hesitate to do the jobs, and they may hesitate to participate fully in that program because they will feel like they do not have job security guaranteed to them. Number 3, we have the impact on talent management and retention. High reliance on contracted workers can create instability in the HR planning, since contract employees often leave after short durations. So, the HR will face a repeated cycle of recruitment and onboarding, inclusive of even training these employees, increasing administrative workload. So it also makes succession planning and leadership development harder to execute, as fewer employees are stable and they're not on long-term basis. So, for example, now in that argument, if BCL, for example, loses skilled contracted workers to competitors, it must repeatedly train new employees. It must start by hiring new employees, training these new employees, which is going to have an impact, a long-term impact in terms of slowing production efficiency, and of course affecting even at the end of the day the production, or even the performance of the organization at large. Number 4, we have learning and development limitations. The HR function often focuses training efforts on permanent staff due to the budget and time constraint. As a result, contract employees may miss out on development opportunities, which leads to creating a skill gap and lower performance consistency. This is going to make the contract employees often to miss out on those training programs and all that. Like for example, if BCL adopts a new resin modeling technology, you will find that permanent staff may master it quickly because they are going to be taken under training, development and all that, while contracted workers may lag behind, may not be able to get to understand it very well, which will end up leading to defects or mistakes because of lack of training and development from these contracted workers. Then there's the other aspect of scalability and strategic workforce planning. The 60% contract or contracted workforce model allows the HR to quickly scale labor supply in response to strategic changes, such as integration of Flourishing Limited and the increased production capacity. So this empowers the HR to support rapid expansion projects without being bogged down and by lengthy hiring processes for permanent roles. So, like for example, when BCL's daily production jumped to 5,000 tons production daily, so you'll find that contract workers helped meeting demand without having to have long hiring delays and such kind of impacts. There's the aspect of workforce risk and compliance issues. Now, when we talk about workforce risk, for a compliance perspective, the HR must manage the legal and regulatory risks associated with the large numbers of contract staff. Misclassification, lack of proper documentation, or an unique treatment may lead to legal issues or disputes. So the HR department must put in place clear policies, contracts, and performance monitoring tools to ensure compliance. Like, for example, if BCL fails to provide mandatory health coverage for long-term contract staff, it could face penalties under the Kenyan labor laws in that particular way. And lastly, need for strategic human resource management. Now, in this, such a workforce structure pushes HR to operate at a strategic level beyond administrative tasks. So HR must align workforce planning, performance management, and restructuring as seen post-Flourish acquisition with organizational goals. This includes conducting skill audits, mapping career paths, and ensuring operational readiness with the right talent mix. So like example, if you look at the post-Flourish acquisition, the HR restructured the roles. It ended up laying off 50% of the redundant staff, and this enabled to facilitate optimization efficiency in that manner. Now, implications on business strategies, because I did say earlier, like in this explanation, we said that the implication can be examined under two categories. The first category that I've already discussed is on the impact of on the workforce, and then there's the impact on the overall business strategy. Now, when you look about the impact on the overall business strategy, first, there's what we call strategic workforce scalability and agility. Now, the high proportion of the contract workers gives BCL the ability to rapidly scale its operations in response to market shifts, new projects, or production spikes, such as the expansion seen in 2021 after acquiring Flourish Limited. From a strategic HR perspective, this model supports agile talent deployment, allowing HR to staff up or down with minimal long-term obligations. This aligns the HR strategy with BCL's broader goal of maintaining operational responsiveness and cost effectiveness. So that can be explained, like for example, after acquiring Flourish Limited in 2022, BCL needed to boost production capacity to 5,000 tons a day. So the contracted workers were the employees who were able to facilitate that production capacity, because they were able to be acquired or onboarded without having long-term procedures, especially that are associated with the hiring permanent employees. At the same time, it helped support agile manufacturing, which helped BCL to seize market opportunities. E.g., there was a sudden demand for plastic products and all that. But it has got a risk. And the risk is that if you over-rely on contracted workers, it's likely to weaken the institution knowledge if the core processes depend on the transient workers. Because sometimes we have said that earlier, that contracted workers are likely to leave after a very short time. Probably they will get green pastures, different places and all that. So we cannot entirely rely on them. That it poses a very great risk. Number two, alignment with cost-driven competitive strategy. A lean, contract-heavy workforce contributes to cost leadership. One of the main competitive strategy in manufacturing which is one of the main competitive strategy in manufacturing. Contract workers often do not receive full benefit packages. So long-term incentives or pension plans, which reduces the company's long-term labor liabilities. So the HR supports this strategy by designing cost efficiency workforce models that maintain productivity without inflating operational cost. The key, which is key in competitive, margin sensitive industries like plastic manufacturing and the likes. So, for example, if you compare, if you had to compare between permanent employees and contract staff at BCL, likely you will find that pension contribution or medical cover, at the same time cutting overhead cost, is going to be achieved by 20 or 30% there, which is a strategic benefit. So you're likely to save more because, as we have clearly seen here, it's that with the contracted workers, they may likely not to benefit from incentives like pension plans, which becomes kind of like a liability to the company. So the company is likely to save more on those because most of these employees are not going to benefit from such kind of benefits. Number 3, there's the aspect of talent risk and workforce sustainability. While contract labor brings flexibility, it also introduces talent risks. The business strategy can be compromised if critical skills are lost due to high turnover among contracted staff. So the HR must therefore integrate talent risk mitigation into the business strategy, including cross-training, knowledge retention plans, and investing in core permanent employees who carry institutional memory. Sustainability of human capital becomes strategically imperative. So, like for example, if experienced machine operators in BCL are contract staff, if they happen to leave, it means that BCL may face defects in resign modeling or molding, which might increase waste in terms of cost. So, to mitigate such kind of risks, you need to conduct what we call cross-training permanent staff on core machinery to ensure that knowledge retention is achieved, so that even if the contract workers can leave, you will find that there will be permanent workers who already know or who have knowledge in terms of working or operating such kind of machines. Also, you can offer performance-based contract renewals to retain top temporary talent when there's a clear way in terms of how they can be retained after the end of their probably contract. Number 4, there's dependence on HR's strategic capabilities. With such a large portion of the workforce being non-permanent, the business heavily depends on HR's ability to manage diverse employment types strategically. This includes developing policies for performance tracking, onboarding, motivation, and legal compliance tailored to both permanent and contract staff. The HR function is no longer just administrative. It must now function as a strategic partner in organizational execution. So, like for instance, in post-Flourish acquisition, the HR had to restructure the roles. For example, it had to lay 50% of redundant staff. Then it had to design a fair severance policies to avoid legal disputes. So you will find that a strategic shift was required or was applied, whereby workforce analytics help to predict skill gaps and at the same time differentiated engagement programs between contracted workers which might include safety training, can be done. Then we have lastly risk management and legal compliance in strategic execution. So from a business strategy perspective, relying on contract workers creates regulatory and reputational risks. If contract employment is mismanaged, e.g., unfair treatment, lack of communication during restructuring, this can lead to a lawsuit or damage to employer brand. So the HR must ensure compliance with the labor laws and ethical employment practices, especially in major transitions like the downsizing of flourishing limited employees. So the risk management becomes a shared objective between the HR and corporate leadership. So, like for example, if BCL misclassifies long-term contract as temporary or deny benefits, it could violate the Kenyan labor laws, resulting to fines or union backlash in that kind of manner. These are things that you can avoid. So, in fact, basically, the two arguments from those two categories is how you argue or how you evaluate the implication of the human resource workforce ratio of BCL workforce and in relation to the overall business strategy. Part B of the question asks, identify the key metrics in BCL at BCL. So the following are the key HR and business metrics derived from the case. First is the employee headcount. So BCL employs a total workforce of 950 people, with a workforce composition of 60% contracted employees and 40% permanent staff. This metric is crucial for the HR to understand the scale and structure of the workforce, helping in workforce planning, resource allocation, and talent management. So the ratio also influences the HR policies around benefits, trainings, and employee engagement, given the different needs of contracted versus permanent staff. So why does employee headcount matter? The employee headcount determines the workforce planning, determines the budgeting, determines the policy designs, e.g. in terms of benefits for the permanent staff compared to contracted staff. Like for example, 60% are contract or are employees who are under contract. So BCL can quickly scale down during a low demand without major layoffs of permanent staff in that manner. The number two, profitability, is another key metrics. The company has achieved an average net profit increase of 5% annually over the past 5 years. So from an HR perspective, this profitability metrics is important as it impacts decisions on compensation, bonuses, trainings, budgets, and employee development programs. So sustainable profit growth also allows HR to invest in long-term initiatives that support employee satisfaction and retention. So this is this aspect of profitability matters because sustained profit will allow the HR to invest in training, in offering bonuses and retention programs. Then metrics number 3 is about market valuation. BCL's 1 million shares are trading at 500 shillings each on the Nairobi Security Exchange, valuing the companies approximately at approximately 500 million as its value. This valuation reflects the company's overall market market position and financial health. So the HR can use this information to benchmark compensation packages, and attract talent by promoting the company's strong market presence, thus enhancing the employer branding. So this is going to be very key, because a strong valuation enhances the employer branding, and it's going to help attract skills or well-skilled talent to come to work for BCL. Fourth, we have the equity ownership. External investors hold 25% of the BCL's equity. This external ownership often introduces expectations of transparency, governance, and performance accountability. So for HR, this means aligning workforce strategies with investors' interest, ensuring clear communication, and implementing performance measurements systems that satisfy both operational needs and investor scrutiny. So investors will demand performance accountability. They will push for the HR to align the workforce strategies in relation to the business goals. Then fifth, we have compensation disparities. The remuneration survey revealed the gender-based pay gaps. Males in top management earned 17% more than females. Then female in middle management earn 19% more than male. And the males in junior ranks earn 25% more than female. So the HR must address these disparities by analyzing pay equity, revising compensation policies, and promoting fairness to improve employee morale, reduce turnover, and enhance diversity and inclusion. So you will find that unfair pay risks lower morale. It's going to facilitate promote higher turnover, and it will have a reputational damage on the organization if it's not addressed. Now, sixth, we have production capacity. Following the acquisition of Flourishing Limited, BCL expanded production capacity to 5,000 tons per day. This increase requires the HR to scale workforce capabilities, ensuring that recruitment, training, and performance management systems support the enhanced operational output. So it's also challenges the HR to manage the workforce integration and maintain productivity during rapid growth. So the higher the output, higher output requires skilled labor, requires well-trained employees, requires workflow or optimization and all those. So the HR must ensure that the employees are well-trained, they have the right skills, and of course they are supported in ensuring that they are performing. Then now, 7, we have the layoff rate. The restructuring led to a layoff of 50% of Flourish Limited is 200 employees. So which means that 100 employees went. So from the HR perspective, such a significant layoff necessitates careful handling to maintain the morale of the remaining employees. So ensure legal compliance and provide support as outplacement services. It also calls for strategic workforce planning to minimize disruptions and maintain operational effectiveness. Next, number 8, we have integration matrix or metrics. The smooth transition and assimilation of 100 Flourish Limited employees into BCL highlights the HR's role in change management. So successful integration reflects effective communication, cultural alignment, and training initiatives, all of which are vital to sustaining employee engagement and productivity during mergers and acquisition. Then 9th, we have leadership. A 7-member lead team spearheaded strategic change and agility. So for HR, this leadership structure emphasizes the importance of strong governance, decision-making, and communication channels. So the HR supports this by developing leadership capabilities, succession plans, planning, and fostering a culture of agility and collaboration. Then lastly, we have the HR strategy. Now, when we talk about the HR strategy, the human resource manager recommended implementing a HR program reporting mechanism. This system can provide real-time data on workforce performance, compensation, turnover, and employee engagement. So it enables the HR to make informed decisions, align workforce strategies with business objectives, and promote transparency and accountability within the organization. Why this matters is because data-driven HR improves decision making and strategic alignment within itself. Now, third question. Analyze the reasons behind the differentials in compensation. Now, the 2020 remuneration survey at BCL company revealed that there is a gender-based salary differentials across 3 levels. The top management, male counterpart, earned 17% more, while in the middle management, female earned 19% more compared to the male, while the junior staff, male earned 25 more compared to female. So what is the analysis on this? The analysis of reasons behind compensation differentials at BCL. First, it can be performance brilliance. One of the primary reasons for compensation differentials could be how employee performance is evaluated and rewarded. So in many organizations, performance appraisal systems vary in objectivity. If performance metrics are not clearly defined or standardized, subjective judgments by supervisors or managers can introduce bias. So this can lead to inconsistencies where some employees receive higher pay increases or bonuses based on perceived rather than actual performance. So in BCL's context, this might explain why male in the top management are paid more, as traditional performance assessment may favor their contribution or visibility more than those of female. Another reason, number 2, is about tenure in role. Length of service in role often correlates with higher compensation because salary increment typically accumulates over time. So at BCL, male employees occupying top management positions may have longer tenure, which naturally translates into higher pay due to experience and loyalty rewards. So conversely, the fact that female earn more in middle management could indicate recent promotions where newer female managers have been brought in with competitive packages to attract or retain talent. So, or females who have recently excelled in those or in these roles. Understanding gender distribution helps HR identify whether pay gaps are due to experience or a systematic inequities. Number 4, we have the promotion patterns and role allocation. Historical promotion practices significantly influence salary structure. If the company's earliest structure favored promoting male employees into senior roles, it could create a legacy effect where men dominate higher paying top management positions. This entrenches a pay gap as those promoted earlier continue to receive raises while female may be under represented at that top level. So HR needs to evaluate promotion criteria to ensure they are merit-based and inclusive to prevent such disparities. Systematic bias. The large 25% pay gap favoring males at junior levels might point a systematic gender bias or occupational segregation. So many may be disproportionately assigned to technical and specialized roles that command higher pay, while female may be placed in support or administrative roles that pay less. So this bias can be unintentional but has a deep impact on the overall salary equity. So the HR interventions should focus on equitable job assignment and unbiased recruitment to address this. Then fifth, we have the job function differences. In the middle management, females earning 19% more than male could suggest that women are occupying roles with greater strategic importance or higher responsibilities. So this reflects positive development in BCL, where women are recognized and rewarded for their contributions in crucial functions. It also highlights the need for the HR to analyze job descriptions and ensure pay aligns with job complexity and outcomes rather than gender. Sixth, we have the general salary increment trends. Differences in how salary increases are administered over time can widen pay gaps. For example, if male employees historically receive larger or more frequent increments, or if increments were based on informal agreements rather than structured policies, disparities accumulated. So HR must enforce clear salary review policies and structure pay scales to ensure fairness and consistency. And lastly, lack of transparency. Without a transparent compensation framework, employees may not understand the basis for their pay or how to progress. So this lack of clarity can perpetuate inequities, as some groups may have better access to negotiations or rewards. So transparency in pay structures and open communication foster trust and help reduce unjustified disparities. So our last question in this first part. The human resource manager highly recommended a certain type of reporting. Examine the benefits of such reporting in the company. Now, benefits of human resource programs reporting at BCL. The first benefit is in line with transparency and accountability. So implementing regular HR reporting fosters a culture of transparency and accountability within the organization. So when HR activities such as compensation reviews, employee restructuring, and integration efforts are consistently documented and shared, it builds trust and employees and management alike. So at BCL, where sensitive issues like gender pay disparities and layoff occurred, transparency reporting ensures that decisions are communicated clearly and fairly. So this openness helps to reduce rumors, misunderstanding, and mistrust, which can otherwise harm the employee morale and engagement. The number two, we have data-driven decisions. HR reporting provides accurate and timely data on key workforce metrics such as employee turnover rates, promotion patterns, training effectiveness, and performance outcomes. With these reports, management at BCL can base their strategic decision on solid evidence rather than intuitions or anecdotal information. For example, if reports show high turnover in certain departments or demographic groups, targeted interventions can be designed. This shift towards data-driven HR management ensures that resources are allocated efficiently and that initiatives have measurable impacts. Then third, we have earlier problem detection. Continuous HR reporting enables the earlier detection of emerging issues before they escalate. So patterns such as pay inequities, imbalances in gender representation across levels, or spikes in voluntary resignations can be identified quickly through systematic reporting. So at BCL, spotting such trends earlier could allow proactive measures, such as adjusting pay scales or enhancing employee engagement programs. So to prevent negative outcomes like low morale or legal challenges, earlier problem detection thus reduces risk and support organizational stability. Fourth, we have strategic alignment. The HR reports aligned with corporate goals ensure that human capital strategy supports the broader business vision. So for BCL, which is undergoing significant expansion and restructuring following the acquisition of Flourish Limited, HR reporting helps track whether workforce changes and talent development are effectively contributing to those objectives. So by linking the HR metrics to business outcomes such as productivity increases or successful integration of new employees, so management can adjust strategies to maintain alignment and optimize performance. Then we have the culture development. Regular HR reporting promotes a culture of feedback, learning, and continuous improvement. So when employees and managers see that the HR monitors and reports on their development and contributions, it reinforces the company's commitment to valuing human capital beyond just numbers. So for BCL, this approach supports the HR manager's vision of nurturing an organization culture where employees feel recognized, heard, and motivated. Such a culture fosters high engagement, innovation, and retention. And then sixth, we have enhanced stakeholder communication. Now, when you talk about stakeholder communication, with 25% ownership held by external investors, clear and formal HR reporting enhances communication and trust with these important stakeholders. So investors are increasingly interested in how companies manage their workforce, especially in terms of diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. So the HR report or reports provides concrete evidence of BCL's efforts to maintain fair practices, manage talent effectively, and implement strategic growth initiatives. So transparent reporting reassures investors about the company's governance and long-term viability. And then lastly, we have support compliance. The HR reporting ensures that BCL remains compliant with labor laws, regulatory requirements, and corporate governance standards, documenting HR activities such as remuneration practices, layoff, and recruitment processes. So this helps demonstrate adherence to legal frameworks and industry best practices. This reduces the risk of fines, legal disputes, or reputational damage. So moreover, comprehensive reporting supports audit processes and reinforces the company's ethical standards in workforce management. So in conclusion, that is how you answer those questions in that first part. Thank you.
So if you like this video, you can always enroll with us. You'll be able to access more of these revision sessions. And also you'll be able to find well done lectures or pre-recorded videos for all the KASNEB courses as well as CHRP. And in case of anything, you can always reach us out. We have our contact details on the screen. Feel free to call, feel free to WhatsApp anytime. So thank you, and let's meet in our next session.